Alright, let's get back to finishing some Watanagashi, shall we? So, oh man, where we last left off, Mion, I don't know if it's Mion or not, she got possessed by a goddamn psycho demon, but good lord, I'm about to die. I wanted, anyway, oh man, let's continue reading. I wanted to say like I just remembered something as I recalled that day. Reina had told me about that and I thought I had apologized. I didn't apologize to Mion though. It had been Shion. In other words, oh god, I hadn't said a single word of apology to Mion. Today, I came to this house saying I had something to apologize for, but I never said a word of apology about this. Come to think of it, when I apologized for going into the ritual storehouse, Mion looked a little bit lonely, like she was disappointed. Why didn't I realize that until just now? Reina told me at the time, and now she herself, no, the demon was telling me, is the only way for a dense idiot like me to be cured. To die altogether. Uh, oh. Oh, excuse me. I could no longer hold back the hot tears from pouring out of me. I simply just cried and reflected indifferently on the taste of my own tears, on the taste of regret. Can I start now then? This method of torture is very simple. I'll nail one of these into the joint on the end of your left pinky finger. Then I'll nail each one in order until I get to your thumb. And then I'll go back to your pinky and nail one into the joint in the middle. So on and so on until I hammer 15 nails into your left hand. When that's over with, I'll do your right hand next. After that, if you're still conscious, I'll tell you. There are a lot of nerves bundled in your fingertips, so it hurts far more than you could imagine. Some people apparently pass out before you finish hammering 30 nails into their hands, so... Oh my god, why? So, Mion pressed the tip of a nail to my left pinky finger. My wrists, my arms, and all the joints on my fingers were strapped in so tightly it hurt, and I couldn't even twitch. I didn't hesitate at all when I was torturing the others. Why do I hesitate now? If this will satisfy your demon, Mion. If it will sate the demon, then do to me what you will. Are you serious? Compared to how much I hurt, Mion, this is nothing, right? Do as much as you want. In exchange, promise me two things. Mion was silent. She did, however, wait for me to speak. After you're satisfied with causing me pain, forgive Shion. She's been punished enough to make up for her crime of sneaking into the storehouse, hasn't she? You, after all this, you can still worry about Shion more than yourself. The other thing is that when you've had your fill, you disappear. Give that body back to Mion. That's all. You know, are you not even considering possibility begging for your life or anything? Can I ask you to promise 3 things instead of 2? The third is to leave me alive. Ah ha 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 ha. You said 2 in the beginning, didn't you? So you can't have any more. That's a shame. In such an abnormal situation, Mion and I laughed quietly together, as if sharing in a stupid joke. I probably won't keep these promises, understand? I'm a demon after all. I guess there's nothing I could do then. I recalled tightening my hands into fists when enduring the pain at the dentist's office. Right now, though, they were opened all the way to my fingertips so I couldn't even grip them. So instead, I tightened my toes. Okay, do it. I've prepared myself already. So do it. You waiting like this to hammer the nails in is scarier. It's going to diminish my readiness after all. Mion put down the hammer and gently stroked my cheek. Kei-chan, I'll agree to just the third thing, okay? Huh? My third wish. To save me. She'll agree to it? Your first wish. To save Shion. That's long done for. The demon will kill her. It's already been decided, so I can't stop it. So give up on that. Her delicate fingers slid from my cheek to my chin. As for your second wish, to give this body back to Mion, that won't happen either. After today, Mion will never come back. From today on, even if my body is here, it will be just a body, because the Oni has taken it over. That isn't true. Mion is Mion. Don't say such sad things. Like that she won't ever come back. Can you hear it? That sound. Mion gently closed her eyes and listened. I definitely heard it as well. Slam. Slam. It was a dull noise that repeated at fixed intervals. A low noise accompanied by vibrations. A lot of people were ramming the iron doors to this underground ritual storehouse. You're late, so Reina probably called Oishi. That spaced out girl being so quick thinking was the one thing I didn't anticipate. I'll agree with you there. Mion grinned like she'd been outwitted, then took something that looked like an electric razor out of her pocket. When she pressed the switch, pale blue sparks flew out with a snapping noise. You've probably never seen one before, right? It's a real stun gun. It's illegal, and its output has been increased quite a bit. Was that what you hit me with before? That's not a toy children should be playing with, you know. You're right. She seemed to want to use the stun gun on me. Unable to move, I felt her press the cool lump of metal to my neck. Slam. I heard a roar as though they'd broken down the first large door. The halls were a bit complex, but aside from the door to this very torture chamber, there was nothing in their way. I won't kill you, but I will have you go to sleep for a bit, Kei-chan. Oishi will be here soon. This will only hurt a bit. Feeling the same shock as before, gritting my teeth wasn't going to help much, but I clenched them tightly anyway. However, just as she did when she was about to hammer the nails in, she hesitated a little. I cracked open my tightly closed eyelids. I'm sorry for disgracing Mion. I made a promise before coming in here. Whatever happens, the Mion inside my heart won't change. Look, forget about that. If you ever see me after today, don't come near me. By then, it will be the demon that inherited my corpse. What are you talking about? Just as I tried to say that, a much stronger light than before shined. And like a television being switched off, my consciousness went black. What the heck is going on now? June 1983. A string of disappearances occurred in Hinamizawa Village, Shishibone City, X is mature. The suspect is Mion Sonozaki, something years old. She is suspected of kidnapped 5 Hinamizawa residents between June 19 and June 21. Oro Sonozaki, Shion, Kuroju Kimiyoshi, Rika, and Satoko. Preliminary investigations of the incident were delayed at the time due to insufficient evidence. Something, I don't know. But was resolved coincidentally shockingly. On the morning of the 23rd, a vehicle patrolling the Sonozaki property heard screams from the side and rushed in as an emergency measure. They secured the suspect's missing younger sister Shion, Sonozaki, and her 2 missing classmates, Keiichi and Reina. The suspect fled the scene. Deep in the attached basement on the Sonozaki property, which is believed to have been used to kill those who disappeared, we discovered hair, flakes of skin, blood, etc. of the other 4 missing persons. Sonozaki, Kiyoshi, Rika, and Satoko. We concluded that the missing persons were tortured in the torture chamber. However, their remains still have not been found. As one of her prison classmates advised, we continue searching in the attached basement of the Sonozaki property. I can't even read that because it's going too fast. Serial freak death accidents of recent years. A long time to clarify them. The opinion of a local officer knowledgeable about the region is that this may have been a lynching, an eternal form of punishing sacrilegious acts carried out against the beliefs of Hinabizawa village. Something. Anticipating gaining valuable clues. Had been in prison for the longest time. Shion Sonozaki, the suspect's younger sister, but her mind was stricken by the grave aftereffects of the incident, and she has not been in the state of mind to properly answer any questions about what she knows. The psychiatrist concluded that she is in a temporary state of shock, but it doesn't seem that she will recover today either. Only a few days passed since that time. Alright, let me see here. 1983, stringer and disappearance occurred in Hinabizawa City. The suspect is Mion Sonozaki, suspected to have kidnapped 5 people in Hinabizawa. The Oreo Sonozaki, Shion, the mayor, Kimiyoshi, Rika, and Sotoko imprisoned and killed them. Preliminary investigations on the incident were delayed at the time due to insufficient evidence, but it was resolved coincidentally and shockingly. Morning of the 23rd, a vehicle patrolling the Sonozaki property heard screams from the inside and rushed in as an emergency measure to secure the suspect's missing younger sister Shion and her 2 missing classmates, Keiichi and Reina. The suspect fled the scene. Deep in the basement on the Sonozaki property, which is believed to have been used to kill those who disappeared, there is hair, flakes of skin, blood, etc. of the 4 missing people. The mayor, Kimiyoshi, Oreo Sonozaki, Rika, and Sotoko concluded that the missing people have tortured in the torture chamber. However, the remains have not been found. Jeez, I really don't want to picture that. At one of the prison classmates' advice, we continued searching the detached basement of the Sonozaki property, which was where they were imprisoned, believing that they were there. However, we still have not located or the suspect's escape route. In addition, investigations are continuing as to our participation in the serial freak death incidents of recent years. I think it would give a clue. No evidence that Mion was involved either directly or indirectly has been found. Still many unclear points as to the motive behind the incident, and as those of the Sonozaki family and the residents of Hinabizawa have been extremely uncooperative in assisting us, we expect to require a long time to clarify. The opinion of a local officer knowledgeable about the regions is that this may have been a lynching, a form of punishing sacrilegious acts carried out against the beliefs of the Hinabizawa village. It is clear that the innocents are particularly rooted in the region, and the prefectural police department has ordered a cautious investigation. Let's see, anticipating gaining valuable clues from the missing person believed to have been in prison for the longest time, Shion, the suspect's younger sister, but her mind was stricken by the grave aftereffects of the incident, the very aftermath, and she has not been in a state of mind to properly answer questions from what she knows. The psychiatrist diagnosed her that she's in temporary state of shock. It doesn't seem hopeful that she will recover today either. And that's about it, because the text goes on so fast automatically, and I wasn't even able to read that. But yeah, only a few days passed since that time. After that, I was rescued by Oishi-san and his subordinates, whom Reina had called in. Aside from my entirely blank state of mind, I had no external injuries. The most I had was the small burn mark from where the stun gun hit me. As I was having a checkup in the hospital, Oishi-san asked me all sorts of things, but I don't really remember what he asked or how I answered him. From what I heard, surprisingly, Mion still hadn't been captured. There were apparently a great many hallways and smaller rooms extending out from the depths of the prison. It wouldn't be strange if she had fled to one of those and hidden herself. The one fortunate aspect amidst all the misfortune was that Shion had been safely secured by the police. When I last saw Mion, she seemed like she was going to take me with her and then kill me. She probably didn't have enough time to, though, since Oishi-san came running in faster than she predicted. That was the only really unfortunate thing to have happened. Of course, the rescued Shion, despite having no external wounds, now had a big, deep wound in her heart. She was in a severe state of confusion when they rescued her, and apparently she bit the police officers trying to resist. From what he heard, she was seeing Mion, and everyone she saw hated not only the hospital but even her own home, and had shut herself up somewhere in Shishibo, hiding her location. And additionally, in fear that Mion would come for her, she was moving from place to place every day, and even her parents weren't sure where she actually was. But wherever she was living, even now, Shion was spending her days in fear of Mion's shadow. The police were investigating the Sonozaki's underground storehouse at this moment, since they couldn't find the remains of the other sacrifices. Hadn't Mion thrown the corpses into a well? I had a feeling I said that to him. That meant a hidden tunnel, vertical like a well, was somewhere in those underground passages. The secret underground without any maps or architectural drawings, which had swallowed up the remains of Rika-chan, Satoko, and everyone else was still unwilling to speak the truth. I was brought back to that basement again too for an on-the-site inspection or something, but I didn't remember being of any help. I never wanted to go back there again. 4 days afterward, the Sonozakis living in Okonomiya, in other words, Mion and Shion's parents, the big-name Yakuza, would come to our house to apologize, bringing many of their followers with them. However much my parents refused it, they piled up many 100,000 yen bills, calling it consolation money, every day. The amount of money grew each day, and after it had passed 2 million yen, they were then given an envelope containing a letter. I don't know what was written in the letter. My parents talked about it by themselves for 2 whole nights, and decided to move away. I see. You're moving, huh? When? At the end of next month. I won't even have been in Hanamizawa for half a year. I'll be lonely. I'm the only one left. Reina smiled sadly. If I had just said yeah, I thought it would make her even more lonely, so I changed the subject. Here's something to think about. That's how I broached it. Mion hadn't actually fled, but had been demoned away in the truest sense of the term. Where she went after she disappeared, that we didn't know. What was there where she had disappeared to? I hoped there was a hobby shop dealing in imports, the kind Mion liked. In that place, she would definitely be free from the burdensome fetters of her family, and live not as Mion Sonozaki, but as just Mion and enjoy herself. Maybe she's already met up with Satoko and Rika-chan. They must also have been waiting for the day Reina and I would join them, spending all their time doing club activities, as lively as they always were. When I told Reina that, she smiled and nodded to me. The incidents the Sonozaki family have been trying so hard to hide, too, were exposed to the magazines from this single tiny scene. The serial incidents of recent years were all pulled up like a long vine in the ground, one by one, and for many days news of it was brought up on talk and variety shows. The shows, which were comedic and silly, never once tried to touch upon the grim, heavy history that Mion had been bearing. It made me mad to see them bringing this stuff up in jest, but there was nothing I could do about it now. How big an impression would these short few weeks I spent in Hinamizawa have on my life? During these few weeks, I met my best friends and had the best experiences of my life. I would probably never forget it for as long as I lived. As for the distorted image of Mion that the media created, after the masses got tired of treating her like a plaything, they would ball her up, throw her in the trash, and then she would fade from their memories. As one of the few people who knew the real Mion, I must always make sure I remember her. Beyond any doubt, that will surely become my offering to her. The sky reached so far up and towering, cumulonimbus, whatever the word you can pronounce, cumulonimbus. I can't pronounce that word. Clouds floated through it. The real summer was just before our eyes. Even now, whenever 10 p.m. came around, I would expect a phone call from Shion, or Mion, rather. Stupid thing. Get out of the way. I hate getting these announcements. Oh, there we go. I would expect a phone call from Shion, or Mion, rather. Now that everything was over, of course, she would never call me. But if it was precisely because she wouldn't call me that I was scared of who would call me this time. Plus, Mion still hadn't been caught. I couldn't say for sure that everything was completely over. On the other side of that fear, though, were my prayers that Mion was safe. When I thought like that, I was able to sleep even with such terrifying thoughts. The lights were off. Before, her attacking when the lights were off was something that scared me. However, that feeling changed to regret within 2 days. The moonlight filtering through the gap in the curtains shone onto the desk and illuminated a doll. That's right, the doll that I should have given to Mion that day. She said it was an import from England or something, and was all the rage, didn't she? From what Shion said, the most popular among them were the ones wearing the fluffy dress. After being released from the incident, the first place I went to was that toy store. Everything was apparently sold out besides the things on the storefront displays. I was refused once when they said they wouldn't sell the display products, but when they realized I was Survivor A from that incident, they immediately consented. Of course, even if I bought it, I might never have the chance to give it to her again. Even knowing that, I waited for the opportunity to give it to her. I waited like this for the opportunity with it on the desk, so I could give it to her at any time. Plonk. There was a weird noise. It was a noise I wasn't used to hearing. It was too big to be raindrops, and it was completely different from the sound lost bugs make when they ran into fluorescent lights. I figured I must have misheard, and nestled back into my futon. Plunk. The noise happened again. I wasn't hearing things. I definitely heard it. Where was it coming from? I got up and turned on the light. If there was a second, there would be a third. From where, though? I listened carefully. Plunk. The window. Some sort of pebbles were colliding with my window. When I realized they weren't being blown there by the wind, but rather being thrown by a person, I gave a start. I looked at the clock. It was 2 a.m. Who would it be at a time like this? I quietly peek out front through the gap in the curtains. In the light at the gate, despite it being so late, I saw someone. Oh no, don't tell me she's back. They picked up a piece of gravel and threw it at this window. I saw someone. Oh man, I'm not liking this. It hit the window and made a plunking noise. Who was it? Ah! I caught my breath in surprise. If my eyes weren't deceiving me, that person was Mion. I threw open the window and looked at the figure again. My eyes certainly weren't deceiving me. It was Mion. It was Mion. She was alive. Mion pressed her index finger to her lips and made a shh motion so I wouldn't shout. If she hadn't, well, I was nearly about to cry out. Mion was in a very delicate position right now. Even if it was the middle of the night, I shouldn't call out her name. I waved to her, gesturing that I'd be right over, flung on my coat atop my pajamas, and flew out the door. I quickly hit the brakes just before going down the stairs. Although happiness was sprouting within me, I had the sad feeling that this would be our final parting. So I went back to my room again and grabbed the doll. If there was a God, I don't think I would have ever thanked him as much as today. Even if it would be the last time we ever saw each other. I was so grateful for this one chance to give it to her. I slipped into my sandals, unlocked the door, unhooked the chain, and leaped out of the house. Huh. Mion. It's been a while. How are you? Been doing all right? It was like how we used to meet every morning. Mion waved to me and responded like she always did. It was doubtlessly Mion. Wait till she kills you. It was the real Mion. Are you all right? Hanging around this place? I really shouldn't be. She certainly wasn't acting like she knew the police were following her. It was almost like she was a patient who had gotten tired of staying in the hospital and had snuck out. Her speech was relaxed enough to make me think that, and I couldn't help but be surprised. That relaxation, I thought, was more like Mion, and I was happy for it. Anyway, what's wrong? What do you need at this hour? I wanted to talk to you one last time. That was when I noticed him. On Mion's forehead were big droplets of sweat. Her expression, too, which I had thought to be a satisfied smile, was, upon closer inspection, trembling slightly, and I realized that she was forcing it. Well, I can't stay for any longer. A pained note was beginning to enter her words as well, as if just smiling was a feat for her. Are you all right? Are you not feeling well? I tried so hard until now, but I can tell I'm done. This is my limit. They're about to come up behind me to take me away. Mion's smile crumbled and started to stiffen. Did she push herself this much to come all this way for me? Her laughter cut off and changed into rough breathing. I reached out to rub her back, but she knocked me away. Are you okay? Don't force yourself. Oh, that's right. I had something to give you, Mion. This doll. I had wanted to do this one last thing because I knew how little time you had left. But this last thing, it... Oops. Oh my god. Oh my god, he was too late! Gah. My stomach is burning. Mion took a meat cleaver-like knife and stabbed me and pushed it in tight and took it and twisted it. Mion. Hey, what? It hurts. I made it. I made it. I cowered on the ground. My stomach was so hot it was almost spewing fire. Mion watched it and took a few steps back and cackled. Yeah, I've done it. I've done it all. That's everyone I wanted to kill. The last words Mion left me with that day came back to me. After today, Mion will never come back. From today on, even if my body is here, a body is all it will be. By then, the demon will have taken it over. The demon, the demon, the demon. Mion. This can't. I thought we had finally been able to meet. This can't. Mion. In a pool of blood of my own design is the doll I bought for Mion, dyed in red, so red. Mion. The good fortune of having been allowed to meet Mion once more, and the misfortune of that meeting being torn apart before my eyes. Should I be grateful or curse it? My emotions were neither of those, as my consciousness sunk deep into a black swamp. The doll I bought from Mion, the blood, had ruined it. No matter how I scrubbed and scrubbed, it had needlessly been ruined. Ruined. The sad moon was so white, it looked frozen. June 28, 1983. A violent incident occurred in Hinamizawa Village, Shishibon City, Access Prefecture. The victim was Keiichi Maibara, also a victim of the previous string of disappearances. At around 2 a.m., he was stabbed in the stomach with a bladed object by the suspect of the last case, Mion Sonozaki, and was gravely wounded. He was discovered when his parents woke up and was then transported to the clinic. He escaped death. The criminal fled the scene. On the same day, at approximately the same time, a fall accident occurred in the Kamishiki compartment complex in Shishibon City, Access Prefecture. The victim was Shion Sonozaki, also a victim of this. Something late on the same night, neighbors overheard her having a big fight with someone and informed the manager. Master Kita entered the room and discovered that the victim had fallen from an 8th floor balcony to her death. The room had been torn apart and appeared to show traces of a fight. One neighbor has frequently visited the Sonozaki house for a long time. Testified that he heard what sounded just like the two sisters having a fight, trading insults back and forth. No traces whatsoever. The victim fell straight down into the village of a parking strip. Neck broke and she died immediately. Jeez, that's a fucking splat. Rip on that. Her clothing was disheveled and had markings that would imply a scuffle. I believe that it must have been an insanity-induced suicide attempt. Particular mental state, victim, suicide, and homicide. Oh my god. What the fuck? Let's see, filing June 28, 1883. Hanamizawa, Shishibon City Prefecture. The victim was Keiji Marbara, also the victim of the previous disappearance. He was stabbed and stung with a blade object by the suspect at the last case, Mion, gravely wounded. He was discovered when his parents woke up and he was instantly transported to the clinic, escaped. He didn't die. The criminal fled the scene on the same day, approximately the same time. Fall accident occurred in the Karishiki apartment complex in Shishibon City, something prefecture. The victim was Shion, also a victim of the previous string of disappearance. Late on the same night, neighbors overheard having a big fight with someone and informed the manager. The manager used a master key to enter the room and discovered that the victim had fallen from her 8th floor balcony to her death. The room had been torn apart and appeared to show traces of a fight. One neighbor was frequently visited Sonozaki house for a long time and testified that he had heard it sounded just like the two sisters having a fight, trading insults back and forth. We believe this was related to the injury case that occurred the same day in Hawaiizawa village. Perpetrated by said incident, suspects did a thorough search of the room, but we could not find. There's no traces that imply that anyone but the suspect was present. The victim fell straight down into the voyage of a parking strip. Her neck broke and died in an instant. Clothing was disheveled and had markings that would imply a scuffle. Could be an insanity-induced suicide attempt based on the particular mental state of the victim after the incident. Conducting a thorough examination of both fronts, suicide and homicide. Only for 5 minutes, understand? Please, try not to excite him. Yes, I'll be careful. Click-clack. The door opened, and as I expected, Oishi-san came in. Hello, my Bara-san. It's been a while, hasn't it? Tell me, how have you been since then? The doctor says my post-operative recovery seems to be going smoothly, but I think I got worse when I saw your face. You wound me. As Oishi-san gave a laugh that smelled of sweat, he handed Mom a bag of assorted candies he must have purchased from the souvenir corner on the first floor at the hospital. Excuse me, Mrs. Barbara. Would it be possible for me to talk to Keiji-kun for just a few moments? Mom clearly wasn't pleased at the thought of the police officer talking to her son without her there. However, I insisted. Mom, sorry, just a little while. Just 5 minutes, okay? Though grudgingly, Mom left the room. When she closed the door, Oishi-san grinned widely and looked around the room. A room to yourself. How high class. My old lady always gets a shared room, you know. It is quite lively, however. Seems like you're a higher rank if you have a worse disease in places like that. The sicker you are, the prouder you are, or maybe the more arrogant. Oishi-san, we only have 5 minutes. I would like if these were the last 5 minutes we ever saw each other. I don't have any connection to Hanamizawa anymore, and this isn't in Hanamizawa anymore either. Yes, because there aren't any general hospitals in Okinomiya. Mind if I take a seat? Down we go. This was a large university's hospital in Shishibon City. It was splendidly urban, entirely different from the likes of Hanamizawa and Okinomiya. It was hard to believe Hanamizawa was part of the same city. When does it look like you'll get transferred? Dunno. I'm ready to go whenever, though. Our moving plans were delayed a little because of my serious injury. My parents had already left the house in Hanamizawa, though, and were living in our new one. They planned to have me transfer hospitals to be closer to the new house once I'd recovered enough to be taken there. Please, don't come to where I'm transferring. I really will get worse then. Man, you really do hate me. It may just be my job, but that stings. That's why I brought you all kinds of lovely souvenirs in atonement. You didn't need to bring an assortment of cookies for that. Well, you see, there aren't actually cookies in there. Look. Oishi-san pulls open the can of cookies and... Ow, I'm stretching my scar. Oh, God. I didn't know what you were into, my Bara-san, so I brought all sorts of things. See? All sorts of cute-looking ones, from westerns to comic strips. Let's see, you pulls a can of cookies, and geez, that's painful. All sorts of cute-looking ones, from westerns to comic strips. Lately they have this sort of H manga aimed at girls too. Don't bring porn in here. Take them away and go home. Ow, 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 ow. I thought for sure a healthy young person like you would be feeling a little needy being cooped up in a place like this for so long. If you stay here too long, the only fetish you'll end up with is a nurse one, you know? There are plenty of other beautiful things in this world besides nurses, after all. Don't decide what to major in now. Keep your options open. You need to be a more all-around type of person. I gave Oishi-san's vulgar laughter a pained grin. Somehow or other I understood. The fact that Oishi-san was bringing it up like this meant that he must have had something important to talk about. The incident with Shion-san really was unfortunate. The night I was stabbed by Mion, Shion fell from her balcony and died. They said the police were investigating all possibilities, accident, suicide, and homicide, but it could only have been Mion's doing. That could be. Mion found out where Shion was hiding and pushed her down to her death. Nothing else was conceivable. It couldn't have been an accident. It was Mion. It had to be. The criminology guys are saying it had to be a suicide, but I'm of the same opinion as you, Maibara-san. She pushed Shion-san and also stabbed you. In one night. Has Mion still not been found? Oh, that's right. That's what I came here to tell you today. Yes, we actually did find her. You're kidding me, right? What? Ow, 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 ow. Learning that felt rather strange to me. I was partially relieved that the incident was truly over, and I was partially sorry that my best friend had finally been caught. I felt many other things too. My heart was a maze of emotions. That's not all. In the Sonozaki house catacombs, we found a hidden well. Just as you said, Maibara-san, we found the remains of all those who disappeared at the bottom. I see. That sliver of hope, that possibility I believed in, that Rika-chan and Satoko were alive just from the fact their remains hadn't been found, gone. It was incredibly well hidden in those catacombs. I mean, it wasn't the blind spot of another blind spot. It was vertical tunnel dug out like a well. There was a ladder set up there, and when we went all the way down, there was another tunnel built there going through it. When we followed it a few hundred meters, we found ourselves at the mouth of an old, unused well in the mountains. I wonder if it was a secret escape route a previous Sonozaki family leader built. Probably was. Maybe it was made in the Meiji era. Still, I'm impressed they built something like that. So everyone's remains were at the bottom? Yes. Even deeper down than the escape path, there was a pool of coal tar. They'd been casually thrown into there. They had fallen from a fairly high spot, so their remains were totally buried in it. It took a lot of time and effort to pull their bodies up. Did you find them all? I hoped that they at least wouldn't find Rika-chan or Satoko. That's what I wished for when I asked, but my shallow hope was crushed in the blink of an eye. Yes, all of them. In fact, we also found human bones we think are over a decade old. We think there are at least 3 people. I suppose it's the dark side of Hinamizawa's history. I wonder how many people's bones we'll find when we've sucked out all the mud. It's a scary thought. That weight had been pushing down on Mion's shoulders the whole time. Mion. Oh my god. We've currently identified people who disappeared from Shishibone City decades ago. People are talking about how this opportunity might let us resolve the disappearing persons cases that have been abandoned. After a deep silence, he breathed a heavy sigh. Oishi-san went for cigarettes to pass the time, but realized this was a non-smoking area, so he gave up and put them back in his shirt pocket. "Oh, right. This is a bit of a detour. But you know Rika Furusan, right?" "Of course. She's my friend." "Did she ever tell you anything along the lines of her regularly taking insulin injections for diabetes?" "What? Rika-chan has diabetes? I didn't know what he was talking about." "Actually, we found it in her shirt pocket. A syringe. It was destroyed, though, so we couldn't identify the medicine. It was a bit out of place, so I got interested." "You really don't know anything?" "Oh my god. I didn't know anything about Rika-chan carrying syringes around with her. The Sonozaki family cooperates, the Yakuza people. Anyway, there's rumors that they deal in psychostimulants. I was thinking that might have something to do with it too." "Are you trying to tell me that Rika-chan is a drug addict?" "No, not at all. That isn't what I'm saying. It just seems strange, however you look at it, that she would bring a syringe with her on her way to get soy sauce. I have no idea what any of this means. My eyes are spinning. I feel sick." "Are you alright? Should I call a nurse?" I'm fine. Please continue." "Well, that's all I had to say about the syringe. It was the only thing that personally struck me as interesting." Rika-chan. Rika-chan was sort of like the village mascot after all. It looks like the village is in an uproar right now between the older blind believers and the Sonozaki family who killed her. The three families' effective control over the village is basically in shambles too. If someone came up to them with talk of a dam again with this sort of timing, the entire village would be abandoned for sure this time. I'm not related to Hinamizawa anymore. I actually was. I just said it because the thought about Hinamizawa being abandoned was unpleasant, and I wanted to end the conversation quickly. There was a knock at the door. It opened slightly, and my mom asked if we were still talking. "Whoops, we went off topic, didn't we? What a pickle." I looked at the clock. 5 minutes were long past. He told my mother that there was something he really wanted to ask, and if she could wait a little bit longer. "Is that so? Keep it short, okay?" There wasn't any getting around the fact that she was thinking about what a police officer could be talking to her son about. "Maybe we should choose another day for this. Oishi-san. Mion, how is she right now?" I wanted to just hear that answer and then get rid of him. "Before I tell you that, I just need one thing from you. I just need you to answer something in all honesty." "What is it?" "I want you to take your answer seriously, got it? If you say something indiscreet, it could be viewed as an obstruction of the investigation, and you could be prosecuted." Oishi-san kept threatening me until the end. What the hell did he want? "Maibara-san, who do you think the criminal was who pushed Shion from the balcony?" "There's no way it could be anyone but Mion, is there?" "Then who was the one who stabbed you?" "Please don't make me say it again. It was Mion. Mion Sonozaki." Oishi smiled bitterly, then dabbed at his forehead with a handkerchief to wipe his sweat. You should have expected that answer, and yet it looked as though he wasn't satisfied with it. "She pushed Shion and stabbed me. Didn't you just admit yourself that Mion was the criminal?" "The evidence we have that Mion killed Shion is based on testimony from the man living next door. This neighbor is actually a member of an organized crime group. In other words, he was Shion-san's bodyguard. It seems he's a veteran leader in that vein, and was like a parent to the Sonozaki sisters growing up." That man said this. The noise he heard from next door was just like the sound of a fight between the sisters that he was used to hearing when they still lived together, and no, there was no doubt about it. He said he heard Mion and Shion insulting each other and heard them struggling. At first, though, he thought it was a hallucination she was having, brought on by her dementia. You see, he thought that because that sort of ruckus. You see, he thought that because that sort of ruckus had been occurring every night. However, that night had been longer than the rest, and he claimed that he went to her room to give her a sedative. The noise died down while he got the manager to give him the key. He had already decided he'd at least check up on her, and after she wasn't answering his calls, they took the plunge and unlocked the door. Then they saw that the room was a mess. Since Shion had been pushed over the balcony, they decided it had to have been Mion, and that's how it happened. In other words, he only heard from the other side of the wall. Plus, because the apartment complex is connected to their organization, it doesn't have many residents. So they were the only ones who heard it happening. To reiterate, there was only one person who witnessed the Sonozaki. Even if he didn't see her, isn't it obviously Mion's doing? Now, settle down. This is what I'm saying. It means you are the only one who saw Mion Sonozaki for sure last night. After all, Shion-san, the other witness, is no longer alive. What are you trying to say? I don't really understand. Oh, man. I wish I could continue more, but I'm gonna pause it here. We've come a long way, and holy shit, I want to end this. But yeah, next part, we'll see how this one will go. So like, comment, and subscribe, and see you later. Have a good one.